The Galactic Council's chamber glowed with soft light from thousands of floating orbs. Each orb represented a different world, a different species, a different voice. The Council had gathered in an emergency meeting. Something had happened in a distant corner of the galaxy that demanded immediate attention. The Krathul Dominion, a brutal and aggressive species, had attacked a human colony called Eden's Reach. Thousands of humans were killed. The reports that reached the Council were horrifying. Ambassadors from many worlds spoke in rapid succession. "This is a tragedy," said a tall, thin creature with silver skin. Its voice hummed like electricity. "We must send a warning to Earth. We must try to prevent war." Another, a short, red-scaled alien with 3 eyes, shook its head. "Do you not see? They will respond. Humans are not weak. We cannot know what they will do." In the center of the chamber, the chair of the Council tried to maintain order. Its voice was deep and resonant, almost like thunder rolling over mountains. "We are here to find a solution. The Krathul Dominion has committed an atrocity, but if humans retaliate, the conflict could destroy many more worlds. We must contact them calmly and negotiate." Meanwhile, light years away on Earth, the message from the Galactic Council arrived at the Human Defense Command. The message was short but formal. "The Galactic Council urges restraint. We request you not retaliate against the Krathul Dominion for their recent actions. We will intervene to maintain peace." In a tall building made of glass and steel, Admiral Karen Holt read the message slowly. She had short brown hair, sharp blue eyes, and a calm expression that rarely changed no matter the situation. Next to her, Secretary Daniel Cross, a man known for his wisdom and steady judgment, watched her quietly. Admiral Holt set the message down and said softly, "They think they can stop us with words." Secretary Cross raised an eyebrow. "And what do you think we should do?" Holt's eyes hardened. "We do what humans have always done. We protect our own. We respond when our people are killed. We do not negotiate with murderers." Cross nodded slowly. He had expected this answer. The human race had survived countless threats, both internal and external. When others expected negotiation or surrender, humans often surprised them with resolve. In orbit above Earth, the human fleet moved silently. Ships from Mars, the Moon, and Titan had already left their bases and were traveling toward Krathul space. They moved in formation, precise and quiet, like predators in the dark. Every captain, every officer knew their orders. They were to strike the Krathul Dominion, but they were not to celebrate. This was not a war of conquest. It was a war of justice. On the human ship Resolute, Captain Luke Harris stood at the command deck, staring at the holographic display of Eden's Reach. The colony had been beautiful, full of life before the attack. Now the images showed nothing but smoldering ruins. Glass domes were shattered. Buildings had collapsed. Fires burned where humans had once walked. Lieutenant Maria Torres, an engineer with sharp eyes and quick hands, worked quietly at her station. She had seen too many attacks in her life, but this one felt different. She had friends on Eden's Reach. She had friends who were now gone. "Captain," she said, her voice low, "the survivors are almost none. We found scattered escape pods, but most were destroyed before they could leave." Harris nodded. "We need to document this. Every detail. Every action. The galaxy must see what the Krathul Dominion has done." Dr. Evan Brooks, a young xenobiologist, spoke next. "Captain, the recording devices we recovered. The Krathul soldiers laughed while they destroyed the colony. They recorded it themselves." Harris clenched his fists. He had seen human courage, human resilience, and human bravery, but nothing had prepared him for this level of cruelty. "Send the footage to the Council. Let them see that this is not a random act. It is murder." The footage reached the Galactic Council within hours. In the chamber on Virellum Prime, the ambassadors watched silently. Their expressions varied: shock, disbelief, and in some cases, fear. None of them had expected this response from humans. One ambassador whispered to another, "They will not negotiate." "They never have," the other replied. "Not when their own are killed." On Earth, Admiral Holt addressed the entire Human Defense Command. The room was filled with people from many worlds, all looking at her with respect and trust. "The Krathul Dominion has committed murder. Our people are dead because of their actions. We will not negotiate. We will respond. But we will do so with precision. We will not attack the innocent. We will strike only those responsible. Humanity does not fight for conquest. We fight for justice." The room was silent for a moment. Then one by one people nodded. They understood. They had trained for this, yes, but it was more than training. It was a belief that ran deep in every human being. Protect your own and never allow murder to go unanswered. In the council chambers of the Krathul Dominion, the leaders laughed. They had heard reports of human movements and believed them to be exaggerated. Humans are soft, one of them said. They talk of justice, but they will not strike. They are weak newcomers. They will beg for peace. But they were wrong. Harris watched the Krathul homeworld approach on the holographic display. His crew was ready. They checked weapons, shields, communications. Every human on board knew their role. But there was no gloating, no cheers. This was not a moment of pride. This was a moment of duty. Holt's voice came through the comm. All units prepare for deployment. Remember, we are humans. We do not negotiate with murderers. We strike with precision. We protect the innocent. We act with honor. The ships of the human fleet jumped into hyperspace, disappearing from their solar system in a blink. The Galactic Council watched the data stream with growing alarm. Hundreds of human ships moving together, silent and unstoppable. Alien fleets nearby tried to intercept, but the humans were too fast, too coordinated. Back on the Resolute, Captain Harris looked out at the stars. Each point of light could hide a world, a life, a story, and now each light also represented the responsibility he carried. We do not take pleasure in this, he said quietly. We do this because it is right. And the galaxy will see it. Lieutenant Torres placed a hand on his shoulder. They will see it, Captain. And they will remember it, Dr. Brooks added. Maybe they will learn something. That murder has consequences. That humanity is not to be underestimated, Harris nodded. Exactly. We are not here to scare them. We are here to show them that justice is not negotiable. Not for humans. Not ever. The fleet continued its silent journey. Planets passed by in streaks of light. Communications were minimal, only what was necessary. No one celebrated, no one boasted. The humans were calm, professional, deadly, and determined. Far ahead, in the heart of Krathul space, sensors detected the incoming human ships. Panic rippled through the Dominion's fleet. Messages were sent, warnings were shouted, but it was too late. Humans did not stop to negotiate. Humans did not pause for fear. Humans did not bargain with murderers. And for the first time, many species in the galaxy began to understand something profound. Humans were not like other civilizations. They could be reasoned with. They could be counted on to keep promises. They could be compassionate. But they had limits. And beyond those limits, there was only action. There was only justice. There was only humans. As the stars stretched around the Resolute and the fleet pressed forward, Captain Harris whispered again, almost to himself, "The galaxy has been warned, and they will remember us." The silence that followed was heavy but steady. The humans did not cheer. They did not shout. They only moved forward, carrying the weight of every life lost on Eden's reach, every promise unbroken, and every principle that defined their species. The first part of this journey had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The human fleet moved through the void of space like a silent storm. Stars streaked past the windows of the Resolute, and distant planets gleamed like frozen jewels. Captain Luke Harris stood at the command deck watching the sensors. Eden's reach was not far now. He could feel the tension in the ship, a quiet weight carried by every member of the crew. Lieutenant Maria Torres worked at her console. She checked the ship's systems for the 100th time. "Everything is stable," she said, her voice calm but steady. "Shields are at full strength. Weapons are ready. Engines are optimal." Dr. Evan Brooks moved between stations carrying his datapad. "I still can't believe the colony is gone," he said softly. The Krathul Dominion showed no mercy. They didn't even give anyone a chance to escape. Harris nodded without turning. "That is why we are here. We will document it all. The galaxy must know what happened, and then we will respond." The first images of Eden's Reach appeared on the main screen. Smoke rose from the ruins of the colony. Domes were shattered, buildings were flattened, and craters scarred the surface of the planet. No life signs remained. The settlement, once full of families and workers, was now silent. Maria Torres swallowed hard. "It looks worse than I imagined." Harris stepped closer. "It is worse. But we must remain focused. We are not here to mourn. We are here to observe and prepare. Our job is to make sure the Krathul Dominion cannot harm another human settlement ever again." The Resolute moved into low orbit over the largest city on Eden's Reach. Small reconnaissance drones were released, flying over the streets in shattered domes. The crew watched as the drones captured images of destroyed homes, burnt vehicles, and bodies that had been left in the open. Dr. Brooks clenched his hands. "They recorded it themselves," he said, almost in disbelief. The Krathul soldiers laughed while they destroyed everything. "They made videos. They celebrated the killings." Harris's jaw tightened. "We will make sure the galaxy sees it. This is not just about revenge. This is about justice. The Krathul Dominion must understand that murder has consequences." Tora spoke again, her voice steady but low. "Captain, I've scanned the escape pods. Most were destroyed. Only a few survivors were found in hidden caves. They are scared but alive. We should rescue them immediately." Harris nodded. "Do it, get them aboard. They will tell the story of what happened. Their voices are proof of what the Krathul did. And then the Council will understand why humans do not negotiate with murderers." The crew worked quickly, using shuttles to bring survivors from hidden shelters to the Resolute. The survivors were in shock. Children clung to parents who were too weak to hold them properly. Some were injured and required immediate medical care. The human medics moved swiftly, providing food, water, and medical attention. One survivor, a young woman named Claire, approached Captain Harris. Her eyes were red from crying. "Why?" she whispered. "Why did they do this to us?" Harris knelt beside her. "Because they are cruel," he said gently. "But you are safe now. You are human and we protect our own. That is what we do." Claire looked at him, tears falling freely. "Will they come back?" Harris shook his head. "Not if we do our job. Humans do not negotiate with murderers. They answer with action." While the survivors were being cared for, the human fleet detected the Krathul Dominion's response. The Dominion had mobilized its ships believing that humans would be slow and hesitant. They thought humanity would negotiate or hesitate to strike. But the fleet was already in position and every ship was ready. Admiral Holt's voice came over the communications. "All units prepare for deployment. Our strike will be precise. Target only those responsible for the attack on Eden's Reach. We do not attack innocents. We do not destroy for pleasure. We act for justice." The Krathul fleet underestimated the humans. They assumed that the human ships were small, slow, and poorly coordinated. But the humans moved with precision. Their formations were perfect. Their attacks were planned with the accuracy of a surgeon. Harris watched the display. "The Krathul think they are clever, but they do not understand humans. We act when it is right to act. And when we do, no one can stop us." The first strike began. Human ships used silent warheads to disable Krathul military outposts. Communication arrays were targeted first, leaving the Krathul unable to call for reinforcements. Within hours, entire fleets were immobilized without a single civilian casualty. In the Krathul capital, leaders watched the human attacks in disbelief. "This cannot be," one of them said. "Humans are new. They are weak. How can they move so fast? How can they strike with such precision?" Harris and his team continued their operation. They avoided unnecessary destruction. They focused only on those who had committed the atrocities on Eden's Reach. The humans did not celebrate each hit. They acted silently, professionally, and with determination. Dr. Brooks observed the attack from the command deck. "They thought we would be soft," he said. "They thought we would negotiate. But we are not like them. We have rules, yes, but we do not allow murder to go unanswered." Torres added, "The survivors will see this. They will know that humans act to protect each other, that we do not forget, that we do not forgive those who kill innocents." Harris nodded. "That is the message the galaxy must understand. Humans do not negotiate with murderers. That is our truth." As the attacks continued, reports from distant observation points reached the Resolute. The Krathul Dominion's fleets were breaking apart. Their communication systems were down. Their command structures were collapsing. Within hours, the Dominion had lost the ability to coordinate a single counterattack. Holt's voice came again. "Excellent work, all units. Remember, our mission is complete when the guilty are punished, not when we conquer. Precision. Justice. Humanity's honor." The human fleet moved methodically through Krathul space. Each attack was calculated. No civilians were harmed. Entire planets that had been threatened or occupied by Krathul military forces were bypassed carefully. The humans did not seek power. They sought justice. In the council chambers across the galaxy, the ambassadors watched the reports in shock. The speed and efficiency of the human response were unlike anything they had ever seen. One ambassador whispered to another, "They are not like us. They do not act out of fear or greed. They act because it is right. They do not negotiate with murderers," the other replied. "That is their law." Back on the Resolute, Harris looked at the holographic display of Krathul's space. He could see the ruins of military installations, the destroyed fleets, and the remnants of the Dominion's forces. No cheering, no celebration. Only quiet determination. Only justice served. Lieutenant Torres placed a hand on his shoulder. "We did what we had to do," she said. "The survivors are safe. The guilty have been punished. Humanity's message is clear." Harris exhaled slowly. "Yes, the message is clear, and the galaxy will remember it." Dr. Brooks stepped forward. "Do you think they understand it yet?" "The Krathul, I mean." Harris smiled faintly. "They will. When they see that humans do not negotiate with murderers, they will learn, and they will remember. That is all we need to do." As the human fleet prepared to return to Earth, the survivors of Eden's Reach were brought aboard the Resolute for debriefing. Each one told their story. Each one described the cruelty of the Krathul and the bravery of the human ships that had saved them. The testimony of the survivors, combined with the recorded attacks on Krathul forces, would be sent to the Galactic Council. Humans did not need to boast or threaten. Their actions spoke for themselves. Harris looked out the viewport at the stars. He thought of Eden's Reach, of the lives lost, of the justice now served. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but humans had a way of making themselves understood. They acted with honor, with courage, and with precision. And one truth had become clear across the stars. Humans do not negotiate with murderers. The message would spread, quietly at first, then loudly. Alien civilizations would learn to respect it, to fear it, and to understand it. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not easily swayed. Humanity acted with justice, and when it did, the results were unstoppable. The fleet continued its silent journey back to Earth. Captain Harris stood at the command deck, watching the stars. Lieutenant Torres worked beside him, and Dr. Brooks recorded every detail. No one spoke much. The weight of what had been done was heavy but necessary. In the quiet of space, Harris whispered to himself, "This is only the beginning. The galaxy now knows who we are." And as the Resolute and the human fleet moved forward, leaving the ruins of Krathul's space behind, one fact was certain: the universe would never underestimate humanity again.